We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
He's gone from here. The evil is gone.
What can I say? I'm a blast from the past.
Should have stayed there.
Come with me if you want to live.
Welcome to Big Lip Radio presents No Girls Allowed, the movie review podcast. From new movies to retro reviews, we promise that we will never talk about chick flicks. Here's your host, Jerad.
Yes, it is, August 5th, 2017. And today, finally, we're getting around to Halloween. Now, at the beginning of this podcast, I said we were going to lean towards horror movies, and we've done a lot of science fiction, but not a lot of horror. And that's going to change because now we're doing Halloween. The entire series, including the remakes that Rob Zombie did. And so it's going to, hopefully, I want all of them to be done by Halloween, which is why I'm starting them right now. I tend to miss about every other or every third week. And this way I know that the whole series will be done by Halloween. And when anybody searches hashtag Halloween, hopefully this horrible podcast is going to show up. But before we get to Halloween, I have a fast food review. I went to Taco Bell. No Burger King, not this time. Kept my word, and plus they've got nothing new. Went to Taco Bell, the old standby, the favorite. And what they have out is the new, what's it called? A Potato-rito. It's a Beefy Potato-rito.
Jenny is breaking up with Jason. It's pretty uncomfortable. Jason's filling the void with seasoned beef, hearty potatoes, and warm nacho cheese sauce, bringing some comfort to a very uncomfortable situation.
You are making this uncomfortable, Todd.
How's that feel, Jenny?
Not good.
Not good.
Taste the comfort with the new $1 Beefy Potato-rito, only at Taco Bell.
Yeah, it's good. Do not confuse this with the cheesy potato burrito. That's another menu item. The Beefy Potato-rito is good. Very similar. It's a lot like the potato burrito, except for it's got a burn. So they messed it up with that cheap Taco Bell burn, which is basically the same burn that they put in their quesadillas. And I don't like the burn. I'm a white guy. I'm Diablo Blanco, and I'm not much into spicy stuff. But if the spice doesn't bother you, you're gonna dig it. It's a lot like the cheesy potato burrito, which used to be a go-to of mine when I first discovered Taco Bell, and because it's the most un-Mexican of all of their food, and that's why I was gravitating towards it, because I used to not like Taco Bell, because I used to be a little bit insane. But I've come to my senses. I love Taco Bell, and the Beefy Potato-rito, I give a solid 3.5 out of 5. It's not too bad. It's better than the naked chicken chips, but it's not as good as the Taco-rito, which is a favorite of mine, and I wish they'd bring it back. One thing that always comes back, though, is Michael Myers.
Halloween night. A small American town. 15 years ago.
Michael?
Halloween.
I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil. I think he'll come back.
Exploring uncharted territory.
And totally charted.
Just talk.
Sure. The only reason she babysits is to have
Halloween.
Okay.
Come on out.
Halloween. The night he came home.
All right, so this movie came out in 1978, and I love this movie. And when it comes to horror movies, there are a lot of different kinds of horror movies. You got demon movies, haunted house movies, zombie movies. My favorite type of horror movie is the slasher, and this is really the beginning of it. You can go back to Texas Chainsaw Massacre if you want. A lot of the elements are also there. You can go farther back, Psycho, which I finally saw last year, and it's got some elements, but the body count is 2, so it's really hard to have a slasher movie when you kill 2 people. But again, a lot of the same tropes are in those movies that this movie popularized. And slashers are my favorite, and this is my all-time favorite of all the slasher movies. And I would call it a good movie amongst any genre. Anyone who likes good movies is going to like this movie. And you can't say that really about anything else. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street. If you're not into horror movies, those movies won't do anything for you. This is a movie anybody who likes movies can enjoy. And it is my all-time favorite. The mask, famously, is a William Shatner mask. Painted white, the hair's dyed, the eye holes were opened up a little bit, and they weren't able to use that mask later on because Paramount had an issue with it and threatened to sue them, or maybe they did sue them, but at any rate, they had to use a new mask that wasn't made out of a William Shatner mask. Let's get down to the nuts and bolts of this movie. It came out in 1978. It was directed by John Carpenter, produced by Deborah Hill. The music, by the way, is also John Carpenter. Came out October 25th, 1978. It's 91 minutes long. The budget was $300,000. The box office is $70 million. So that's pretty damn good. That's a good return. And of course it's considered an independent movie, and a lot of your most famous movies are independent movies. Star Wars, when it was made by George Lucas, distributed by Fox, but it was basically an independent movie. All right, so this movie starts out with that wonderful theme music. Hold on, let me see if I can find it here. Oh, there it is. There it is. So it starts out with the theme music and first-person view of a outside Michael Myers' house, and the girl in the house apparently has a boyfriend in there. They go upstairs, do the deed. Michael Myers, well, we don't know it's Michael Myers at this point. First-person view into the kitchen, grabs a butcher knife, around, hides behind the stairs as the dude comes out of the bedroom and out. It was a quick encounter. Obviously, these guys are young. And so then first person up the stairs, and until he puts on a clown mask he sees on the floor, it's all one shot. And boom, kills his sister. And goes outside, out to the front yard. His mom and dad come home. They see him standing there in a catatonic state, holding a bloody knife. Rip the mask off him. Michael. So there it is, Michael Myers. That takes place on Halloween night in 1963. So now we're going to flash forward to 1978, October 30th, day before Halloween. Dr. Loomis. You know what? Let's go through some of the cast real quick. Let me fire up my phone. Go through the cast. It's a very famous cast. Anybody listening to this podcast already knows. But Donald Pleasance plays Dr. Sam Loomis. Now, he was one of the bad guys in one of the Bond movies. And I don't follow James Bond. I probably should. But one of the early James Bond movies. And he really wanted to be in this movie for whatever reason. Jamie Lee Curtis plays Laurie Strode. This was her breakout role. This is the one that made her a scream queen for the first part of her career. And she had trouble putting that behind her and getting more mainstream roles. But talent shines through, and Jamie Lee Curtis is who she became. Nick Castle played Michael Myers, and in the credits, he's called The Shape. At the end, Michael Myers gets his mask ripped off. An actor named Tony Moran played that Michael Myers. PJ Souls plays Linda. Nancy Caius plays Annie Brackett. Let's see. Charles Cyphers plays Sheriff Lee Brackett. He's got a very familiar face. Let's see if he was in anything else. Not much. He was in the original Assault on Precinct 13, which was also another Carpenter movie. He was in The Fog. That's about it. So he wasn't in a lot. I wonder why he's so familiar to me. All right, so that's your cast. So Dr. Loomis, he's driving late at night, October 30th. It's a rainstorm. He's got his nurse. Actually, she is the one doing the driving. And they're going to Smith's Grove because they want to pick up Michael Myers. So they go to Smith's Grove. They're coming up to the gate, and they see behind the gate all the inmates are just walking around free. Just like zoned out, wearing white hospital gowns. It's really an unnerving scene. Now, the version of this I watched was the 35th anniversary edition, which comes in the box set. I've got the box set, and of course, I also have the 35th anniversary on its own because the packaging is really great. I'm telling you, I'm way into this movie, and so I've got the 35th anniversary edition of the movie twice because it's also in the collector's edition of the entire run. And I've got the original Blu-ray because it has different commentary on it. So basically I have 3 copies of the original Halloween, and I don't regret it a bit. It's a great movie. Okay, so The Blu-ray edition cleaned up sparkles, almost too clean, because they had to do a lot of tricks to make this work on a very tight budget, and some of it shows when you see it with the crystal clarity of Blu-ray. So Loomis gets out of the car. He runs up to the gate because there's a phone there. He's going to phone it in, and suddenly Michael Myers jumps on top of the car, breaks the window. Now you could see on Blu-ray there's actually a wrench taped into the palm of his hand, and that's what breaks the window. But in every other version, it looks like he just slapped the window and it broke. So anyway, he steals the car, drives off, and I've heard people make a deal out of it, and the movie even calls itself out on it, on how can Michael Myers drive? He's been locked up since he was 6. I don't know. I've heard of 6-year-olds stealing the car. Oftentimes they crash. But driving a car is pretty self-explanatory, especially if it's a standard or automatic transmission. So I never had an issue with that. I always thought, of course, people can drive. It's common sense. So anyway, Loomis is losing his mind, and he's like, the evil is gone. It's gone from here. It's great. It's a great line. It's in the opening of this show because I love that line. All right, so now we go to Halloween Day, 1978, Haddonfield, Illinois. Now, Haddonfield is a made-up suburb out in Illinois, and it was actually filmed in California, and it looks so Midwestern. They really nailed it. Now, if you look at some of the shots, and you got to look close because they hit them as well as they could, you can see palm trees in the background. And if you live in the great American Southwest, and I do, you know what palm tree bark looks like, and it's very, very distinctive. If you see a tree trunk from a palm tree, you'll be able to spot it immediately and know that it's not a regular tree. But anyway, there's a few of those in there. So what these guys did is they brought leaves with them, dried them out, painted them so that it would look like fall, and they would scatter them in front of a wind machine, and they would film their outdoor scenes, and then the entire cast and crew would gather up all these leaves again and put them into bags so they could use them for the next shot. It's amazing, and it shows what great things can happen when everybody believes in a project. Okay, so now Laurie Strode, she's Jamie Lee Curtis. She has to go on her way to school. Her dad's a realtor, Strode Realty, and she has to go and drop off the keys, put them under the doormat because someone's coming to look at the Myers house later that day. I don't know if they ever did. It doesn't really show. There's a couple of plot issues with this movie because it's not perfect. It's just great. Excuse me. So she does that, and we also meet up with little Tommy Doyle. Tommy Doyle is the kid she babysits for, and she's going to babysit for him that night. And it's Halloween night, and she's going to carve pumpkins, and they're going to watch scary movies, and they talk about that and introduce you to Tommy Doyle. And she drops off the keys. Michael Myers is in the house, and he spots her. Now, the first time I saw this movie was before they bothered to explain the purpose of Michael Myers, and whoa, do they really get into it in the later sequels. They really get deep in the woods on it. But in this one, it was like he picked her at random. You stepped on my doorstep. Now I am going to stalk you and kill you. And somehow that made everything even scarier. So anyway, there's a scene where the kids are teasing Tommy Doyle after school. He's carrying his big pumpkin on the way home from school, and here's that scene.
He's gonna get you. 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 The boogeyman is coming. Leave me alone. He doesn't believe us. Don't you know what happens on Halloween? Yeah, we get candy. Boogeyman, ooh, the boogeyman, the boogeyman, the boogeyman, the boogeyman, the boogeyman.
One of the kids running away runs into Michael Myers. He's wearing a mechanic's jumpsuit. And the reason one of the many reasons this movie works so well is you'd see Michael Myers in the background. That day at school, Laurie Strode is in some sort of philosophy class. It seemed a bit deep for high school. But anyway, she looks out the window. She sees the Smith's Grove station wagon that Michael Myers stole. And Michael Myers, it's parked on the other side of the street, and he's just standing behind it, looking in the window. I don't know how he knows what class she's in. It's really, really creepy, and it lends to the feel that there's something supernatural going on. And all good slashers, you feel like there's something supernatural happening. So anyway, he's there in the background, and just all day long, he's just there in the background. Now, Loomis is telling the institution that was caring for Michael Myers, you got to get on the phone, you got to go to, you got to call Haddonfield, let the police know who's coming, and because he seems to know where he's heading and why. And so he's driving to Haddonfield, and you see there's a payphone. God, there's so many callbacks to how old this movie is. It was really a different time in America. He's at a phone booth, and he's calling Haddonfield to try to give them a heads up. And he sees a tow truck in the weeds. So he goes out and he looks, and there's Michael Myers' little hospital clothes and a naked murdered mechanic. So he's wearing the mechanic's outfit, and that was the first guy to get killed. It was an off-screen kill, and it was just a random mechanic. Let's see, where are we at? Oh yeah, and phone booths. Phone booths. We used to have to talk into phones that half the town talked into, and it was unsanitary to say the least. Oops, by the way, the mechanic is the second person killed. The first person was Michael Myers' sister, Judith. And so anyway, after school, Annie and Linda and Lori are walking home, and they see the station wagon that Lori saw zooming by, and they talk some smack to him, slams on the brakes, and then moves on. So they had no idea how close they were to Michael Myers. So everybody goes home after school. They're all getting ready to do their trick-or-treating or babysit their kids, whatever they got going on. You got Lori's friends, Annie and Linda. Annie's going to be babysitting little Lindsay Wallace right across the street from where Lori's going to be babysitting Tommy. And Tommy Doyle, that's his name. And so anyway, they're in the car. She's giving Lori a ride because apparently Lori doesn't have a car. And they go by a hardware store where the alarm's going off. Annie's dad is the cops, so they stop. And, hey, what's going on? And somebody broke into the hardware store and stole some masks and some knives. Now, during school, we're going to say, I don't know, mid-morning, Michael Myers is running around with the mask. And now, after school, after everybody chills out and they get ready to go out and everything, the alarm's still going off at the hardware store where Michael Myers broke in, I don't know, 6 hours earlier? Doesn't make sense. But anyway, that's the way the story goes. So now we know where he got his knives and where he got the mask. Apparently it's a mask that everybody sells in this world anyway. And hold on one second. Let's do this. Oh, yeah, there's the theme we all love. Okay, so Lori goes over to her place, and across the street, Annie's hanging out at her place. Linda and Bob are going to come over later and hang out with Annie. Annie's got a date with Paul, so everybody's breaking the rules except for Lori. So now what happens is little Tommy Doyle is seeing Michael Myers everywhere, and he's upset, and nobody believes him. Oh, there's the boogeyman. He thinks it's the boogeyman because the kids were teasing him earlier. Now the kids trick-or-treating. They decide they want to go to Michael Myers' house, just some neighborhood kids. And here's how that went.
I'm not afraid. Bull. I'm not. Then go in.
We used to say that all the time, by the way. Bull.
Chicken. Go ahead, Lonnie. Go in.
Hey, Lonnie, get your ass away from there.
That was Dr. Loomis. He didn't want the kids screwing around in the house. Earlier, Loomis and the sheriff went to the house, excuse me, to see if Michael Myers was there. And there was a dead dog in there, still warm. And Loomis said he must have got hungry, implying that Michael Myers is going to eat a dog raw. And just really, really scary stuff. When Lori got home earlier that day, she saw Michael Myers behind a hedge. She saw Michael Myers in the clothesline of her neighbors. So she's been seeing him everywhere. And he's just standing there looking at her. And that is the creepiest thing on the planet. I don't care how much blood and guts you throw at the screen. That's the scariest thing ever. In fact, this movie is so good at scaring you. I was in my mid-30s before I realized how basically bloodless this movie is. It's not really exploitative. There's not a lot of nudity except for PJ Souls. There's Judith at the very beginning. There's not a lot of blood, a lot of off-screen kills, a lot of kills. Well, we'll get to it where you don't actually see the fatal blow. Let's see. Fear the Reaper is playing in the background when they're driving around going to their babysitting jobs. What a great song, and it fits so perfect with this movie. Okay, so now everybody's at where they should be. Annie is trying to get together with her boyfriend Paul. So what she does is she concocts an idea. Hey, Lindsay, how about you go hang over at Tommy Doyle's? And she said, oh, okay. So she's going to go see her boyfriend, Annie is. So the kids are all over with Lori. And Annie goes to her car, realizes she doesn't have her keys. She can't get in. The car's locked. So she runs back to the house to get her keys. She's singing about her boyfriend. I don't think I've ever made my wife sing about me. So she gets into the car, it's not locked. She doesn't realize it. And then she's like, why are the windows fogged? Because he's in the back seat. Oh my God. So now he's strangling her. then in a move you don't even really see, he slits her throat. And that's it. And he's gone. So now Linda and Bob show up because they're going to go hang out, and they're going to sneak off upstairs while Anne distracts Lindsay, and they're going to have their time. Well, nobody's home. Lindsay is over next door, and Anne is dead in the garage, and Bob and Linda don't know anything about it. So they go upstairs and they do their deal, and after they're done, Linda says, Bob, why don't you run downstairs and get me a beer? Well, while he's down there, Michael Myers gets him. So he gone and comes back upstairs. He's wearing Bob's glasses over a ghost costume, Michael Myers is. Linda's doing her nails, which is what you're hearing right here. She's filing her nails.
Well, did you get my beer? Cute, Bob, real cute. See anything you like? What's the matter? Can I get your ghost, Bob? All right, come on. Where's my beer?
So he's just standing there looking at her.
Well, can't you answer me?
Again, the scariest thing that can happen.
Okay, don't answer me. Are you weird? Well, I'm going to call Lori. I want to know where Paul and Annie are. This is going nowhere.
That's a rotary phone.
Finally. Hello? Hello?
And now Michael Myers is strangling her.
All right, Annie. First I get your famous chewing, now I get your famous squealing. Annie, are you all right? Are you fooling around again? I'll kill you if this is a joke.
I'll kill you if this is a joke. Yeah, okay. So now she's starting to get suspicious. Annie, of course, is the fifth person to be killed, and now your body count is up to 5. So Lori puts the kids to bed, decides she's going to go next door and see what's up. And so she walks in. The front door's locked, the back door's open. Wow, how come the back door's open? So she goes inside, and she's like, okay, guys, come out. This isn't funny anymore. She goes up the stairs. She goes into the bedroom. In the master bedroom, there's Annie, all stretched out in the bed with Judith Myers' gravestone suspended above her. Oh, man. And so she freaks out. She's backing up. She bumps into the closet. And again, this also makes you think there's something supernatural going on. Bob swings down from the closet. He's dead. She screams, backs away from him. A door opens in a probably a wardrobe. Hard to tell what it is. There's Linda. She's dead. So now she's freaking. She goes out into the hall. Michael Myers comes up behind her, swings at her with the knife. She falls down the stairs. She hurts her leg. Now, luckily, Michael Myers doesn't run. He stalks. So she's hoofing it best she can with a busted leg, trying to get across the street. And she gets back to Tommy Doyle's house, and she's trying to wake up Tommy Doyle. She doesn't have the keys with her. And by the way, if you notice, the direction the door opens from the outside isn't the same direction from the inside when they film the interior scenes. It's clearly a set on the inside and a real house on the outside, and the door opens the wrong direction. It's funny. If you notice. I only noticed because Jamie Lee Curtis talked about it in the commentary track. She's a bit flaky, but it's good. I've listened to it twice. So, she's in the house. She sends the kids upstairs, and they go back upstairs after they let her in the house, and she notices, holy crap, the window's open. Michael Myers comes up from behind the couch where she's collapsed in front of. She grabs a knitting needle, jams it in his neck. He drops the knife. So she grabs the knife, and she's going to stab him with it, but looks like he's dead. So she drops the knife, and biggest, most stereotypical mistake in everything. In all these movies, they drop the effing knife. So she goes upstairs. She tells the kids, okay, here's the deal. You need to go and get help, and I killed the bad guy. And Tommy's like, you can't kill the boogeyman. Oh my God, there he is coming up the stairs. So she shoves the kids into a bathroom, locks the door, runs into the bedroom, shuts and locks the door. She opens up the door to the balcony, really smart. So it looks like she ran out there, and then she hides in the closet. So Michael Myers comes in, gets her in the closet. She's trapped. She stabs him with a wire hanger, and then grabs a knife from him, stabs him with the knife. And then she goes and gets the kids, sending them to the McKenzie's house so that they can call 911. Excuse me. And then he sits up, and her back's to him. She doesn't know he sits up. And he sits up exactly the way The Undertaker does, if you're a WWE guy. Exactly the way he does. That's where he got it. So he sits up and gets her from behind, strangling her. During the fight, she pulls his mask off so you can see his face. He drops her, puts the mask back on, almost like he has to have the mask on in order to kill. I mean, he put the clown mask on when he was 6 before he could kill his sister. And suddenly, there's Loomis. He saw the kids running from the house, so he ran into the house, shoots Michael Myers 6 times. He falls out off the balcony, and when they go look, he's gone. That's the end of the movie. The credits roll. So that's it. That is Halloween, and it is my favorite horror movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I highly recommend you get it. Get it in Blu-ray. The Blu-ray is pristine. It's crystal clear. It's wonderful. The movie's great. I did watch it with my 4.5-year-old granddaughter. She seemed pretty cool with it. Didn't seem to bother her much. And again, I shouldn't incriminate myself by admitting all these horrible movies I watch with that little girl. But when she turns into a serial killer and kills me in the middle of the night, I just want people to know why. So anyway, that's it for today's show. Next week, hopefully we get one out again next week, we will be reviewing Halloween 2. More of the night he came home. So we will see you then, and take it easy.
Say, you at the drive-thru.